Hey, just picked up this little one as a project. It's got a new turbo fitted. I don't know if it's been run with that turbo or not. Everything looks pretty fresh. It's got plenty of coolant in there. The oil looked good. I was told it's not running right, so let's start it up. Let's see what it looks like. But look, ultimately it is running. Not running well. Looking at that level of blow-by, I'd say the rings are stuffed, or we've got a cracked piston or something like that. Either way, let's rip this engine out. Okay, first thing, just want to start draining some fluids out of this thing. They're always as tight as ever. Got oil on me. Going to start taking these drip trays out as well. Now this seems to have a variety of different screws. It's been patched up over the years by the looks of it. Got one drip tray here, and I think I'm going to have 4 different screws holding this on. Let's get this bit of plastic out of the way. One drip tray, and check that out, 4 different types of screws. Gotta love my job. Okay, I want to take these exhaust nuts and bolts off here. Nothing here is looking factory, so let's spray it with a bit of good time, and hopefully they come off easy for us. Well, they came off easy enough, but it's all a bit of a nightmare there. We'll get some new nuts and bolts for that. Let's see how these ones crack off. Oh, look at that. Now, I'll probably order a new gasket for this because that's looking pretty crappy as well. This little bracket's got a nice bend in it here, just so I can't get to the bolts, so let's just bend you back. Obviously someone's hit a gutter or something at some point. Just unplug the O2 wire. And we'll balance this so it doesn't drop on my head. Come on out. Okay, so it looks like we've drained about 2 litres out of this, which is about half what it should have. Who knows where the rest of that's gone. Looking at how smoky it was before, maybe it went out the exhaust. Just going to drain the coolant out here. I tried without a little pipe on here, but it's really hard to direct it, so I'll put a little pipe up on there just so it comes out a bit neater. I've just taken the drain plug out completely. We'll get the last little scraps out of there. You never get it all anyway, so I'm not too stressed. Now, it's a bit hard to get here on camera, but we have the belt here. Now you can sometimes just pull these and lock them into place. I'm not familiar enough where this one gets locked in, so I'm going to just put a Torx bit on the end of the pulley. Pull that tension off the belt and just see if I can flick the belt off and let go. Done. We're now underneath the back of the engine here. I need to remove this starter motor. There's not a lot of room here for me to get good footage whilst I do it. So I'm just going to try my best. The battery's been disconnected, which is pretty important. So it's a little 10mm nut that we'll get off first here. And we dropped it. This little 10mm nut, it's got a washer incorporated in it. That's for your signal wire for your starter motor. Now, this typically happens where you're trying to get this bolt off here and it's just turning both of them. So you've got to get in there and try and hold the nut on the underside of this. So what happens is that nut that's on there is tighter than this bolt and nut assembly thing here, so the wrong thing starts spinning. It's a real pain. It also means you probably didn't have a good earth connection point there. Well, and Cruzes are renowned for random cut-offs, so. Now it's going to be off camera because I just can't get the camera in here to show you what I'm doing, but it's fairly easy to reach in over the top here and get that top bolt for that starter motor. It is a 13mm. And you can get a fair bit of movement. That's the top starter motor bolt. Now with that top bolt removed, the starter motor can be wiggled out of the way. We'll pull it out. So now with the starter motor removed, we can see the flex plate here. And what we're looking for is a couple of bolts that sit in here that hold the flex plate to the torque converter. So we're going to need to rotate the engine around looking here for these bolts. Now just to slowly wind the engine over, I'm just going to put a socket onto here with a ratchet and just wind it over like this. I'm going to go in this direction because that's the direction that the engine rotates in. Then I'm going to be looking up at that little hole to see those bolts line up. So just spinning around looking for a bolt. That looks like the first one's coming up now. Now I'm using a long 18mm. It just sits up nicely in there. And that is the bolt that comes out. They're just a short bolt. Now, from memory, I think there might be 3 or 4 of them. I'm just going to keep rotating around till I find them all. It's the same as before, just rotating around on the crank. And I'm watching. There's the next one. The third one. Now what I can do is I can run my finger up. Oh, I'm bleeding. Run my finger up over the flex plate and I can feel the torque converter and I can now spin it. So what I want to do is just make sure that it's free. I can definitely spin it. It was only the 3 bolts, so that's fantastic. Let's keep moving on.